Hello, hello, hello. Um, it's Memorial Day, and we want to start off by thanking those who have served our country, served to keep us safe, served to make America better, a better place to live. And so, if you are one of those persons that have served in the military or served our country, today we remember you. And to those of you, if this is your first time on Sunday's Best, welcome, welcome, welcome. We do this just about every Sunday at the same time, and you can have the same seat, the same front row seat. It's up to you. And I would love it if you have some company, some popcorn, a friend, some dessert, anything that you desire to have. And usually on holidays, we usually overeat anyhow. So to have some dessert tonight wouldn't be a bad thing. Let's talk about last week. But before we go there, I want you to make sure that you have paid yourself. Because people who don't pay themselves always end up broke. All right? And we want to break the habit of being broke. We want to do, as the Bible says, steady plotting brings prosperity. And so I wish that for you and your family. But you got to start where you are. You got to start where you are and move on from there. So last week we talked about believing in yourself, believing in yourself. And our theme for the year is yes, you can do it. So we talked about belief means faith or confidence in something or someone. And in this case, I asked that you believe in yourself. So you are that person. You are steering your ship. You are directing the choir. You are determining the direction that you're going to go in. And tonight we're going to talk about what keeps you stagnant and what people that are too still can do to you. We talked about the fact that believing in yourself is a firm conviction or opinion about oneself. To start, you have to begin, believe, and then become. The most of the world quit far too soon. They quit when the victory is in sight, but they just don't know how to stay the course. So we talked about that, and we talked about how when you believe in yourself, it builds your confidence. It means that you have a feeling on the inside that you can make a difference on the outside. In that, if that feeling is deep enough on the inside, you know it. You know when you're passionate. You know when you're excited. You know when you're in your zone. You know when you understood the assignment and you're delivering it just like you should. And then self-doubt, we talked about, expands self-belief, expands your reality. Self-doubt does not. Self-belief. And what else did we say about believing in yourself? We said when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to financial freedom, when it comes to making a different career choice or transitioning, when it comes to relationships, you are the person in charge. If you don't believe it is possible to have financial freedom, it ain't gonna happen. If you don't believe that the relationship is worth saving and that you know that if you do something different, you'll have a different outcome, you'll make things better. If you don't believe in yourself, changing from one job to another is not going to build your confidence. You have to believe that the job, the career, the business, the money, the weight loss, that all of it is possible. So it begins by believing in yourself. And I said, finally, can you see yourself there? Because belief is about vision. You have to see yourself where you're going. You have to see and feel and taste how it's going to feel when you cross the victory line or when you have the victory. How sweet is it going to be for you? That's what keeps you going long after other people quit, having that belief. So if you believe that you want something or you believe that you can become something, how long it takes for that to happen may be about your belief. If your belief is weak, you're going to move slower. You're going to procrastinate. If your belief is, I got a deadline, I know I deserve this, yes, I can do this, and it's going to happen in 2022, or I'm going to set my goals, my 3-year goal, and it's going to happen then. So when your belief is that finite, you know what you want, you know what it feels like when you have it, you know when you have a general idea, and sometimes you have to modify that thing. Like in real estate right now, I'm having to modify some things. But you know what? I believe in me, and I believe that I can get it done. So even if I have to do it on a smaller scale, even if I have to pay someone to help me do it, I believe strongly enough in what I put on my vision board that it's going to happen one way or the other. Plan A is going to work. If not, I'll replace plan A with plan B. And so you have to arrange the pieces in your life. And during the month of June, we're going to talk about positioning, how to position yourself to win. It's hard to win when you can't see yourself winning, when you don't know what the reason is why you want what you want so bad. So we're going to go on tonight, and I want you to stop saying, I'm going to try. And I ask you this week to tell me something that you did. So right now, something that you did this past week or that you did this year that you didn't procrastinate, you didn't find an excuse for. And then I'll share mine at the end. All right? So we brought you up to speed. That's what we did last week. So this week, and you know, we've had conversations kind of around this same point about knowing who's at your table, who's in your circle, who's at your table with a to-go box. They didn't come to leave anything. They came to take. So let's talk about things that are still, things that are too still, and what you need to do about those things. I saw a post earlier this week, and I just thought it was really, really, really something that we needed to discuss. So I put it on my list. So for starters, did you know that toxic people are dangerous? They're dangerous to your health. Everything about a toxic person can go against what you have in your mindset or in your mind's eye about your future. And if you hang around toxic people long enough, they will rub off on you. It'll just get under your skin. Toxic people are heavyweights. Heavyweights. Weights like on your back. Weight like a gorilla. Weight like an elephant on your chest and you're trying to breathe. That's how infectious toxic people are. So you got to love yourself enough to avoid toxic people. And I heard it said, don't allow me to say yes to toxic people in order to get along with them. That's not what we need to be doing. So today's Sunday's Best is yes, you can. Yes, you can position yourself to make things happen, even in 2022. But if it doesn't happen in 2022, that doesn't mean that it can't happen at all. You know what they say, delay does not mean denial. So stay away from still people. Still, S-T-I-L-L. Thank you, Gwen, for posting this. I took it and put my twist on it. Still people can stunt your growth. Now let me tell you a few things about what I mean about still people. Still living in the past, still losing at the game called life, still complaining, still broke, still making excuses, still hating on other people. Those are the 7 things that we're going to talk about. Still, not like be still and know that he is God, or be still and listen. Be still in this, being still in this, the definition that I'm trying to leave you with, and the point that I'm trying to make tonight, is still people are like dead people. They don't have any growth. And if you're trying to grow, and if you're trying to position yourself to be the best you can be, to perform in excellence, then you got to leave still people where you find them. People that are still living in the past, and they want to take you back there every as often as they can in a negative way. It's good to think about the past as you move forward. It's good to reminisce on the past, on the good times, even on some of the bad situations that you knew that were for your good and you had some growth from it. But you don't want people constantly returning to, I remember when you didn't have this, or I remember when you looked like that. The past can be a good memory, but it can also be a nightmare. The past can be a place of growth, but it can, reminding you of it, can cause you to feel bad. The past can be where some bad things ended and you picked up some good habits. And you don't want to be constantly reminded of that. The past can be where you let some people go. And you know what? You don't want to be reminded of that either. You just want to say, thank God, either they moved on or I had the sense to move on. So still things are not growing and they stunt your growth. Still losing at the game called life. You say you want to win. But what have you done lately to change your odds of winning? Still saying you want to win does not cause you to get the trophy. Still saying you want to win does not make it so. Losers have a corner, but winners get the belt. Losers lose, but winners get the trophy. So when you're in a group of still people, still water, nothing flowing, it's going to get stagnant. So the people that keep returning you or your mind to a time when you weren't as good as you are now, leave those still people alone. They're stunning your growth. Still complaining about how bad it is. What are you doing to make it different? When was the last time you made a change? When was the last time you committed to doing something that was uncomfortable so that you could get comfortable? Still complaining. Speak positively over yourself, over your situation. Be hopeful and take action instead of complaining. Use your energy for something positive. Still things aren't going anywhere. They're still stagnant, still not progressing. Here's another one. Still broke. Are you sick and tired of being broke? When was the last time you weren't broke? And what did you do differently so that you weren't broke? That was one, number 5. Whatever you did, go back and do that again. However it made you feel, get that feeling deep down within. Because you know what? Broke is temporary. It's not a permanent circumstance. It's not a permanent thing like, I guess, tattoos are predominantly permanent. I don't think anybody would put a sign on their arm or a tattoo on their arm, or a sign, a seal on their forehead to say, I'm broke and I'm going to stay broke. No, that's not what you want. But when you hang around people that are still broke, they say, if there are 5 of them and you hang around long enough, you will become number 6. So if you are still broke, it's time to figure that piece out, because we are going to be talking about positioning yourself. And those of you who are following the challenge, I know that you don't desire to be broke. Sometimes stuff happens. Most times stuff happens to all of us at different times and cause us not to be as far along as we should be. But if you're still hanging around broke people who are talking about broke and being broke and never talking about how not to be broke, then you're going to be broke too. All right? So number 6, still people don't make progress. They don't move. They stay in one place. And believe it or not, a lot of people, they're okay with where they are because it's no pressure. It's no stress. It's okay with them. Still people make excuse. They are complacent, like still waters. They're not running anywhere. Like a brook, they're not running. They're still pointing the finger at any and everybody else besides the person who can change, the person who can stop making excuses. Still people make plenty of excuses. They have an excuse. I thought about something the other day before I read this. If I said, I got a great opportunity for you, it's going to be happening at 7 p.m. on Sunday. You know, there's some people that will say, you know what, I'm so busy, I may need the opportunity, but I don't have time. Could you drop it off at my house? They want you to bring the opportunity to them. But if I said, hey, there's a line, the line is wrapped around Chick-fil-A, like a three-ring circus, because they're giving out free chicken sandwiches and shakes today. You say, which Chick-fil-A? The same person that didn't have time. When something is free, they don't make an excuse. Not always. The excuse might be, I can't afford it. But you know what? What you should replace that with is, how can I afford it? And what will it cost me if I don't buy it? Or if I don't get the opportunity? Or if I don't seize the opportunity? Because opportunities are not going to wait on you, folks. Opportunities are for prepared people. And that's why the month of June, I'm going to be positioning you in how to receive what you want in life. And the last one, still hating. So we got still broke, still complaining, still living in the past, still losing at the game called life. And the last one is still hating. Lord Jesus, we need this one to penetrate, because we sometimes carry the weight, the baggage, hating on people, and don't even know why we hate. We kind of forgot why we fell out. We kind of forgot why we hate the person. We don't really have a reason all the time. Maybe somebody in your circle said they did something to them, and you don't know both sides of the story. So you just pick up hate, and that hate is still there. After you are out of high school, after you played together as children, after you moved away, you just still hate the person. A lot of hate hurts the hater. And the person that is hated don't even know what you're talking about. They even forgot that happened. They weren't still. They moved on. And so in life, sometimes you just got to say, that hurt me then. It hurt me for a while. But you know what? It's not going to take me down. It's not going to turn my heart to stone, to the fact that I have to hate the person for the rest of my life. Because you know what? It hurts the hater a lot of times more than the person that you hate. Hate does not produce good fruit. Still, having all these things does not promote a good life. Being still is not the way you become successful. Still will wither and die. Being still will cause you to wither and die. Still things don't fully develop. And so I encourage you to know that you have to position yourself. And being around all these still situations will cause you to never give birth to anything that is living, that is alive, that is thriving, that is just bursting at the seams, that is exceptional, that is awesome. None of those things will happen when you hang around still people who are still. They don't get it. They don't get that you can't be still and have energy at the same time. Success calls for energy. It calls for a mindset. It calls you to think about being progressive, moving from where you are. Look back to move forward. Look back, stay humble, but move forward. And so part of positioning is planning. Did you know that your life's purpose requires a plan? And a person without a plan soon stops because they don't know what they're doing, or they don't know what they're supposed to be doing to get the results that they need. So they get discouraged and they stop. Positioning yourself to be in the right place at the right time is so very important. Position yourself for a message. Position yourself for places that you want to travel to. A person who positions themselves can find themselves in overflow. So, position yourself. You want to grow. Andrea Williams, I don't know if you're on, but I saw Mike watering those plants. And Tanya Gray helped us to start our gardens. And every day I want to see it grow. And I want to see you grow. But you don't grow by being still. If none of those seeds came up, I would say, what's happening? What's wrong? Because I believed that it would grow. I've seen plants grow. I just never had a garden until now. So when Tanya came and helped me to get started, and some had plants already like that, others were just a seed. So she put a little label on it so that I would know what my garden was supposed to look like. I would know that if she didn't plant watermelons, I shouldn't expect watermelons. So what are you planting? What are you allowing other people to plant into your psyche? You got to get in your head every day before someone else does. So let's see who's on. Let's see who did it. And let's see who paid themselves this week. Vivian McLean is the first one. And she says, good evening. $2 signs. All right. Way to go, my friend. Sandra Bolton, I started my new sport, crabbing. Yeah, she talked about that. She did it. I went to Murrells Inlet and Pawleys Island. So you got to position yourself. The crabs weren't coming to her. She had to go get it. Like Mary says, go get it. Gloria Moore didn't procrastinate when it came to saving this week. So that's great. Thank you for saving, Gloria. And so it says, those people who are still broke, those of you that are on this call, you're not hanging around people who are still broke, not in this tribe, because we're still finding a way to make it happen. Genevieve Burgess says, planted a few vegetables in my yard that have began producing veggies. She did it. I did it. Great job, Genevieve. And I think we're going to call these our pandemic gardens because it is new to a lot of us. Sandra Bolton says, yes, I can. And yes, you are, Sandra. You're making strides in this new profession of real estate. Gloria Cooper says, hello. Gloria, tell us something you did this week. Lily James says, I started organizing my computer room and my bookshelves. Great job, Lily. Great job. You know, if you have to look for something more than 5 minutes, you're probably not organized. And so a lot of us are not organized. And we waste valuable time looking for something, looking for things that should have their own place. Gloria Moore says, wow, still people. That's a great spin, a great spin on it. Olivia Green, good evening to all. But Olivia, tell us something that you did this week that you simply decided that it was time to do it. Andrea Williams is on. Andrea, I don't know about this week, but I know this month you started that garden, because as soon as you saw that I had posted how happy I was with the service, you then asked who helped you. And so great, great. And Andrea says, let the past pass. Amen. Let the hating stop. Let the hurt lessen. You know, we just can't dwell in the same spot all the time if it's causing us problems. Hello, Sophie. Thank you for getting on. And I thank all of you for getting on. And so I'm going to go back up. And if I missed anybody, I will be giving you a shout out later. But here's something that I did. When the pandemic came in, I had a lot of reasons to make excuses. Had some unforeseen circumstances that changed my life forever. But I didn't stop. Thanks to my son-in-law and daughter, they took me on we went on a family business planning trip. And part of that was making a vision board. Up until that time, I had all my stuff written in a folder. I had index cards. I had photos, but I didn't have it displayed in my office like I do now. And so I changed some of my production goals. And I'm sharing this with you not to brag or boast, but because I asked you to say something that you did. When I adjusted my goals for the year a few months ago, due to the pandemic, due to the loss of my husband, due to the fact that I didn't want to work 5 days a week, I adjusted my schedule and I adjusted my production goals. And because I always say to this group, have $1 million day, have $1 million life, I was shocked when I looked and it was May 7th and I had already done 1.3 million in production. So I did it. I did it. I didn't necessarily plan to do it, but when you get focused and when you have the will to win, there are very few things that can stop you. And so I did something. I mean, that was at the 7th of the month. And then we've added a few more deals to that. So how good is that? I did it. I didn't procrastinate. I didn't say, but. And I'm glad you did the same thing. So I want you to invite someone the month of June, because we're going to be talking, like I said, more about positioning yourself. If somebody is winning up here and you're playing the same game, you're in the same line of work, there's got to be a secret to what they're doing. There's got to be some favor on what they're doing. And if you can learn nothing more than the prayer of Jabez, maybe that's what they prayed. Maybe that's what you need to pray. But learn to crawl, master the crawl before you walk. Know what you're after before you run. Success it's a process. It really is. Success is doing a series of things over and over and over, getting better and better and better at delivering whatever it is. And then you finally, you win. You win. And I believe that you can do it. So thank you for getting on. Have $1 million day. Have $1 million life. Just go out and just do it. Do it because I know you can. Stop being still and stop allowing still people to steal your blessing. Have a great week.